It's an exhibition you need to see. I went in there yesterday in the morning and I was blown away. I was like, wow. Wow, pictures I've never even seen before. They found them. Pictures I'd only heard of, they found them.
His courage, his music, definitely, his bravery. His music, his music, his music, his music, his music, his music, his music.
I think also his integrity and consistency, because he was, like you were saying today, he was very consistent with his values. He never really altered or pretended to be what he wasn't.
Yeah, if he wanted to smoke,
He would smoke.
he smoked. If he liked women, he said he liked women.
His Africanness, his pride as an African man, his pride as a black man, his pride for the history of Africa, the African ideology, apart from his music, his message to his people. When I come to Europe, I always like to portray myself as someone who is proud. You know, I don't want to wear the wigs that a lot of black people wear. I don't want to bleach my skin because I feel I am who I am. I'm proud of who I am.
He was one of the greatest composers that has come out of Africa.
And you can easily use it to reference political and social climates around the entire period that he was alive making the music. You can trace economic, political, and social changes in his music as well.
Historical facts as well.
Historical facts.
My father was a class hero. He was a working class hero.
I think Fela Kuti is my why into going into music. He's the reason.
Yeah, I'm from Abeokuta. He's from Abeokuta as well, so I always heard his name. We're from the same city, same town. And of course, you saw him in the newspaper as well. He was always in the newspaper. There's always some scandal, some situation. But he was an intriguing figure because he was unavoidable, but controversial, but also people liked him at the same time. So it was a very funny mixture of like, this fella, but like everybody was really interested in what he's got to say and what he's doing next. So yeah, he was always around. The Fela's music comes from a very wide source.
It wasn't just political. The words are political, the messaging's political, but the music in itself, it was a new thing. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't jazz, it wasn't high life, it was like this thing that no one had heard before. And to believe in that and just keep going and create a whole legacy around it it's incredible.
What you take for granted normally here doesn't happen in Lagos or in Nigeria.
Confusion Break Bone talks about Lagos traffic as a good metaphor for how confused we are, because there's no rules, there's no lights, there's no left or right. It's a good metaphor for how the country's working. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed growing up in Lagos. I was going to primary school there. I had a great school. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. In fact, there was a lot of things happening at that time because a lot of events were happening. In the late 70s, there was the Festac, the Festival of African Arts. The whole world came to Lagos. I saw Ipitombi from South Africa. They're like a dance troupe. They came to Lagos. There are a lot of things that were coming through Lagos at that time. Cultural events were happening. You know, there was a circus that I remember seeing, magicians. So it was a very vibrant place at that time.
My mother moved there for a very brief period. It was hectic. You know, I never lived there like Femi did. Femi lived in Kalakuta.
Kalakuta was a big party, too much freedom for me. There was no distinction between nightlife and day life.
It was not like growing up in a normal house with your mom and your dad. There were people all the time, loads and loads of people all the time. As kids, we used to go there and we used to love to go there. We used to beg my mom, can we go? And you are just enjoying yourself 24/7. I can understand why my mother didn't want us to go all the time. At the exhibition yesterday, I saw pictures of me as a kid. There, one I was jumping out of the window, one I was on the phone, and it just brought back memories of the fun we used to have.
Kalakuta, you know, is an experience. Kalakuta is not just a place, it's an experience. And you know, experiences are only there to teach you things, to help you learn things. So in that sense, Kalakuta was like a big school of life.
And Fela was so accessible, such an accessible, it was not difficult to see Fela at all. Just walk into his house and wait around till he wakes up. There was a journalist yesterday that asked me, says, how do I feel that my father is the only famous person who has his underpants on display? First, I want to correct any notion that Fela wore his underpants on stage. He never did. He wore his underpants in his house. And when he left his house, he put on his trousers and he put on his shirt. His point was, I want to be comfortable in my house. It's hot. He didn't have air conditioners. He didn't have, he had fans. But Nigeria, if you've been there before, can be really, really hot. So, there's a video where he's playing Authority Sticking and he's at home. But a lot of young kids watched it and thought he was on stage. He wasn't on stage. He was at home rehearsing with the band. I was always at least one concert a week.
The Shrine is a place where we pay homage to people who have fought for freedom, the emancipation of Africa. People like Bob Marley, Martin Luther King, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, my grandmother, my father. So it's a sacred place. We have a small shrine where we pay homage to the Orisha, as we would say in my language. God of iron, God of thunder, God of the sea, goddess of the sea, goddess of the river. It's a symbol of freedom, justice, and things like that. The way the Christians look at their church, or the Muslims look at the mosque, is the way we look at the shrine.
I experienced the shrine late, though, for a lot of, I experienced the shrine and yeah, it was great. I mean, I went there, I arrived from London, I just went straight to the shrine. It doesn't come on stage until much later in the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning. There's a lot of goings on, but I did experience the shrine. It was a great experience, actually.
People talk about the message a lot, but it was also a place where the community could just come together and express themselves. That for me was what was most powerful about the shrine. More than the music, more than the message, more than, the spirituality of my father, was that the shrine was a place where people who could not be heard in society could come and actually be heard in a way that no other space granted them. And the shrine, also the Republic, Kalakuta, had an open door policy, so everybody could become a citizen by just crossing the line. You didn't have to meet any criteria. So we had people from Europe, we had people from Asia, we had people from all over Africa, we had Nigerians. So for me, that's my father's ability to just accept people, to truly accept somebody for being who they are. No questions asked, just in the respect of their humanity, that they have a right to be here because they are here, and you have to accept that, And that for me was what was most powerful about my father and the Kalakuta Republic,
It's a much bigger place, but the building, we fashioned it after the old place. It's 4 times the size of the old one. For instance, when Sheung came in to the shrine for the first time, he was like, this is just like the old shrine. So the only difference between this one and the old one is that we're also paying homage to Fela. Because Fela was alive at the old shrine, and now this one, he's one of our main focuses. And like Nkrumah is Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, my grandmother, Mrs. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti.
I grew up not in Kalakuta, but in the New Africa Shrine. And I used to watch my dad play 4 times a week. And I used to watch his compositional process. And every one of those days, we had about 2,000 to 5,000 people at the shrine. And he used to play for hours and hours.
We have to always mention my elder sister,
Always.
who is another mastermind of ensuring the Africa Shrine stays the way it is.
And the entire legacy is intact.
Yes, and she's the one that
Helps with the
Celebration, the biggest concert in Africa right now, Celebration.
That is hers.
That's her baby.
We want a lot of people to get the message, to enjoy. And one thing that I love about Celebration is when I see the joy in the faces of the people who attend the festival. And everybody, all the hotels in the area are full because people who don't want to go home or who live too far away book all the hotels. So that week, it's just a mad week.
Sorry for Nigeria. Sorry.
Fela inspires a lot of these young artists from Nigeria. He does to the American hip-hop artists as well, because I hear a lot of them playing his music or sampling his music. We get a lot of requests from even Beyonce. I watched a concert where she played Zombie. Fela inspires a lot of them, not just the Nigerian ones now, a lot of the American ones and the British ones as well.
Fela's music and message is still relevant today because what he sang about 40, 30 years ago is still what is happening. Fela, we can never have someone like him anymore. I'm grateful that he gave us something this original, that, you know, many people after him have come and have made something out of, you know, in a positive way. There's just something Fela Kuti-ish about everybody.
When you listen to like a Fela Kuti record, the things that he was talking about, the bad governance, the, you know, no electricity, the, you know, the sort of like westernized ideology of like what you think you should be doing in Africa is still present, you know. So when you listen to the music, it doesn't feel like it's aged at all. There's a relationship between the people, the kids, the youth of today and Fela Kuti's music because it's just real stuff.
Fela is a creative that's designed a genre of music that is now accepted throughout the entire world. And not only that, not only was he a fantastic composer, he was also a man with so many interesting values and traits that was willing to sacrifice everything for what he thought was the righteous cause, which was, of course, a Pan-Africanist Africa, an Africa that was united, one that was self-sufficient and independent, truly.
Fela's music and Fela's ideas are very relevant today because we're missing his voice, we're missing that opposition to what looks like a global right-wing movement. So the fact that his music is still around, I guess you can listen to it and get some ideas as to what to do and how to go about it. But his voice is very important because it shows you the contrast between 1970s and today. Massive, massive contrast in culture and life in general.
Coming from Nigeria, Fela's music was, you know, prevalent. Everyone listened, and I just was always taken by people's, you know, reaction when they listen to Fela. They would always, you know, sometimes you hear a song and you forget about it. The moment you enjoy it and forget about it, but people never forget about Fela's song. They will say, "Oh, do you hear what he said? That's what is happening now." And so, as a small child, I was just like, "Wow!" So music has such power. And I remember I wanted to be like him. I had one opportunity in my life to see him at the Bar Beach, the festival. The thousands of people performing, and my uncle carried me on his shoulder, and I could see him so far away. And that was the best gift ever, that I saw Fela Kuti before he died.
I think that the world more and more would be able to understand my father the more the world becomes more class conscious. You know, more than a Pan-Africanist, even myself, I would say, is that my father was a class hero. He was a working class hero. For me, this is why Fela's message is relevant more than ever because, you know, it unites truly the global working class in terms of message and what we go through and what we experience. And if we can just remove this tokenism and consumerism from our psyche that the elites used to bribe us all the time, that we can truly forge together as humanity. I think that was really the basis of Fela's message, you know, but from a Pan-Africanist point of view.
Also, his music has created a subculture. I don't know if it's a subculture now. This the new Afrobeat, you know, phenomena. It's not a subculture anymore. It's a worldwide phenomenon. You could see his influence on Wizkid. You could see his influence on Asha. You could see his influence on Burna Boy. You know, there's always some allusion to Fela Kuti. It's there, the stage presence. He's the master, he's the one who dared. And has influenced millions way after his death. I hope if he were alive and sees what he's done, he will be proud, because this fella everywhere.
Jenny,